ladies and gentlemen, as you certainly know, a regional youth forum on ICPD beyond 2014 took place on the 30th and 31st of May in Istanbul. It gathered young people from the UNECE countries to discuss the youth vision for development priorities in the region. I have the honor to invite and welcome the Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, Mr. Ahmad Alhendawi, and we have also the privilege to have with us two representatives from the Regional Youth Forum, Ms. Grace Willems from UACT in Ireland, and Jakub Skrzypczyk from Youth Coalition in Poland. I may start by giving the floor to the Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, Mr. Ahmad Alhendawi. Please, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, distinguished delegates. Good morning. It's a great pleasure to be with you today at this important conference. We live in exciting times. Today we have the largest generations of young people the world has ever known, with 1.8 billion young persons. The call for respect for human rights and economic and social justice from young people across the world has never been stronger. The combination of these forces demands from all us to listen to young people's ambitions and take bold and concrete actions to deliver a world of equality, opportunity, and the human rights for all of them. As young people are speaking in city squares throughout the world, we have to make our institutions more friendly to them so we can listen to them in institutions and in the processes. Young people are no longer accepting to be consulted only every 4 years when they vote. They demand more responsive governments that can listen to them and engage them in decision-making at all levels and all issues concerning their lives. When we talk about young people, we know we have to acknowledge that we are talking of a diverse community of voices. But what's clear is how those diverse communities share common concerns and passions on core global issues. Just if we look to My World survey, we will find out that across the world, young people have prioritized education, responsive government, healthcare, and decent job opportunities. This proves once more that the aspirations of young people are similar across the world. And these concerns are cornerstones in the ICPD agenda. Underlying these, young people always prioritize issues of inequality and the human dignity, which are necessary pillars to the rise and development agenda of the United Nations and to the agenda that the United Nations promote. Ensuring progress for all means making comprehensive education accessible to all young people, in particular to girls and vulnerable and marginalized groups. The debate about education should go beyond the primary education. A relevant education must integrate life skills, vocational training, comprehensive sexual education, peace building, sustainable development, and promote global citizenship. A comprehensive, right-based, and gender-sensitive education is an essential step to individual empowerment, decent employment, and economic development. Mr. Chairperson, distinguished delegates, with 73 and 400,000 million young persons currently looking for work, and many others giving up their job search, addressing this issue is not only universally relevant, it's also critical to the eradication of extreme poverty, to the fight against inequalities, and to the achievement of social justice, and the creation of sustainable and inclusive communities. Unemployment for young person is not just a number. Unemployment can cause a psychological damage. Just last week, met a young person, 25 years old. His name is Anas. He finished with a master's degree in business administration. And he told me how he wakes up every day, dresses up. He is a morning person, he told me, and he is full of energy every morning. And he just feels that he has no place to go every day because he is unemployed. He told me that I could tell I don't want to be in that position because I know when you have all the energy in the world and you have no place to go or no meaningful place to contribute to. Young people access to health as well must also go beyond prevention and treatment of diseases to focus on the conditions and enabling environment necessary for young people to lead healthy lives free from coercion, discrimination, violence, and stigma. Young people, particularly adolescents, girls, urgently need universal access to affordable and equality health care, as well as youth-friendly health services, including sexual and reproductive health. Countries must aim to ensure that all adolescents enter adulthood with highest attainable standard of health, without unintended pregnancies, unsafe abortions, unsafe deliveries, sexually transmitted infections, including HIV, and with a healthy weight and free of substance abuse. Young people expect a sustainable development agenda which integrates education, human rights, and youth participation to tackle the effects of inequalities. Young people also should be treated equally, regardless of their socioeconomic status, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and with a special attention to youth with disabilities, youth in conflict zones, youth with HIV/AIDS, and youth at risk. Mr. Chairperson, distinguished delegates, as the Secretary General's Envoy in Youth, I have a mandate to take the voices of young people to the United Nations, and also to advance the United Nations work with and for the 1.8 billion young persons living in our world today. The contrast between the growing global youth population and the imbalance of representation and participation of young people in national, regional, and international decision-making structure is something I am committed to reverse. This is why my first year as the Envoy in Youth, I am working with the Economic and Social Council in the other room and the regional commissions to establish regional youth forums. These forums would represent a structure mechanism for youth engagement with the United Nations. They are also an important route to move our global community from consultation only with young people to action defined by young people. In the days ahead, I urge you to be bold and concrete in your conversation and recommendations. The outcome of the regional conference will be indeed an important contribution to the ICPD review process. You have the opportunity to highlight the issues from this region that will contribute to a more equal and just world. In this process, you all know that young people have spoken throughout the ICPD review process. In the global survey, the Bali Global Youth Forum virtual platform, and the regional consultation like the one held last month in Istanbul. The European Youth Call to Action, which will be presented to us today, has a clear demands from over 40 organizations in the region. I personally welcome and support this call to action. I commend you for including young people as key participants. Those of us privileged enough to be here have the responsibility to ensure that the result of this meeting advance the right and aspiration of all European youth. I stand ready to work with all of you and with young people, especially to ensure that the future is shaped through the creativity, meaningful participation, and leadership of young people. Thank you very much.